and we're down around verse 15 or 16. We're still on the part where Adam and Eve have committed sin by eating of the tree, the knowledge of the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And God is passing punishment on them. Verse 15, he prescribes punishment on the serpent, which we can interpret as being the devil, and that Eve's seed would bruise his head, but his seed would bruise his heel, which is to say that most scholars who study such things, this is the first reference to Christ, and that he would ultimately damage Satan by overcoming death, but Christ would be damaged in the fact that he had to die for sin. But he would be raised again to live forever, and so death would ultimately be overcome. Then he pronounces a punishment upon the woman. Said to the woman, he said, I will greatly multiply your pain in childbirth. In pain you will bring forth children, yet your desire will be for your husband, and he will rule over you. So you ladies that have had children and went through childbirth, you can blame all the pain on Eve, not your husband. Yes, sir.
That term desire too carries with it the idea of the desire to dominate and control. In other words, it was demonstrated when Eve ate the fruit first, and he gave it to Adam. And so the term desire carries that connotation that there's going to be a natural inclination for the woman to want to control and dominate men.
Okay. Then to Adam he says, because you have listened to the voice of your wife, and have eaten from the tree about which I commanded you, saying, you shall not eat from it. Cursed is the ground because of you. In toil you will eat of it all the days of your life, both thorns and thistles it shall grow for you, and you will eat the plants of the field. By the sweat of your face you will eat bread till you return to the ground, because from it you were taken, for you are dust, and to dust you shall return. So that's the reason we have thorns and thistles and yellow flowers. It gives everybody the allergies in the springtime, and ticks and chiggers, mosquitoes. Man, the mosquitoes are bad right now. I saw Kevin Fenton at the sale today, and Hank and Callie were with him, Rigel's wife, and they both got into mosquitoes somewhere early this morning. And they had knots all over them, each of them. They got into mosquitoes. But what are y'all doing to that kid?
Big mosquito.
Big old skeeter. Sounded like he's tickled about something. But anyway, the sentence was upon the man that he would have to farm or grow. Food wasn't going to come to him just of its own. And that anytime you plowed the ground, it would, instead of bearing a complete bounty, it would be weeds and what have you come up. You know, today, mankind has invented Roundup Ready soybeans, and Roundup Ready corn, and what did God reinvent? Roundup resistant weeds. So they just thought they had it all figured out. Yes. Yeah, well, okay. It seems to be it's a dual curse. One for the serpent because the serpent was more agile and he was able to talk. But Satan had taken over this one particular serpent, and so it's the general thinking that he's not only cursing the snake, but he's also cursing Satan too. But it is kind of fuzzy right there on which one is he talking about? Is he talking about the devil? Or I think he's talking to both because it's generally understood that Satan is the one that's doing the tempting, but he's in the form of a serpent. You know, and we know that the Satan is described as a person or a being, or maybe the best way, that can take on many forms. One of the writers says he can even take on the form of an angel of light. In other words, he can even appear to be like an angel. Whatever it takes to trick you or to entice you into doing something that's wrong, he can take on that form.
He's lying, he speaks his own language.
Do what now?
When he's lying, he speaks his native language.
Yes, it says he's a liar and the father of it. He told the first lie.
Word not.
Yeah, just add one little 3-letter word. Word not. Now the man called his wife's name Eve because she was the mother of all the living. The Lord God made garments of skin for Adam and his wife and clothed them. Then the Lord God said, Behold, the man has become like one of us, knowing good and evil. And now he might stretch out his hand and take also from the tree of life and eat and live forever. Therefore the Lord God sent him out from the Garden of Eden to cultivate the ground from which he was taken. So he drove the man out, and at the east of the Garden of Eden he stationed the cherubim and the flaming sword which turned every direction to guard the way to the tree of life.
It won't be very popular among this bunch, but just to remind us, up to this point, there's still no mention of man eating food.
That's true. There's still no mention. And, you know, I've lots of vegetarians point that out to you. Oh, well, they didn't eat meat till after the sin was, you know. And then but we do know that God sanctioned the eating of meat because that was part of the sacrifice. You know, we think of sacrifices as just burning them completely up, but that was part of the priest's pay. Was they got a portion. We called it a barbecue today. You know, they put it on a deal and cooked it, but the priests each got a portion. That was their part of their pay.
For every creature of God is good, and nothing is evil, is received and
Okay. Where'd you get that in the book of Acts?
in 1 Timothy 4.
1 Timothy 4, okay. You had to go a long way from Genesis to get that, David.
Hey,
Yes, sir.
I'll do the same thing. Remember that after work, that God has promised that if we serve Him, we won't be needy.
Yeah.
And I'd like to show you one place in John 6:9. That here, some of the followers, they had a bunch of hungry people there, and Jesus wanted to feed them, so he asked them, the followers, have you any food? And one of them said, here's a little boy who has 5 small loaves of barley bread and 2 fishes, but how long will that last among so many? But we find out that God blessed it, and on the all got filled, they took up 12 baskets of
Okay.
leftovers.
Okay.
God take care of it.
What did he tell Peter when he was hungry, when Peter had the vision? He said, get up, kill and eat. So,
Yeah.
but Bob is right. We have no mention of them eating meat. It's just all just the fruit till they run them out of the garden.
I don't think I can do that. I like my steak.
Do I now?
I don't think I can handle that. I like my steak.
You like the steaks? Okay. Yes, yes. Yeah, just a few more verses.
Before this, did anything die at all, so that may not even
Do what now?
before this, before all this took place, did any of the animals die?
Doesn't say that it did.
Or did they reproduce? So is that,
They were, you know, that, they're reproducing. They're trying to, you know, replenish the world or fill it up or whatever, however you want to say that. They're trying to, you know, and then I've been pointing out before, you know, that's the one commandment that mankind is fulfilled to the utmost, is that God said, go and replenish the earth. We do a good job about that, about getting lots of people, you know. We got pretty good evidence around here. We got kids, babies just all over the place, and fixing to get some more. That's good. But he drives them out of the Garden of Eden because of the tree of life that's there, because it said if they was to get a hold of the fruit that's there, they would live forever. Now the tree of life is mentioned also in heaven, but this particular one, there's two trees there that they could eat of it before they sinned, but after that they were disallowed to, because they ate the tree of knowledge of good and evil. About the animals, you know, where he says that God brings the animals to Adam, and Adam, whatever he calls them, that's what their names is. They weren't afraid of it. Now the man had relations with his wife Eve, and she conceived and gave birth to Cain, and she said, I have gotten a man-child with the help of the Lord, and she gave birth to his brother Abel, and Abel was a keeper of flocks, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. So it came about in the course of time that Cain brought an offering to the Lord of the fruit of the ground, and Abel on his part also brought of the firstlings of his flock and of the fat portions. So he had to kill them. And the Lord had regard for Abel and for his offering. But for Cain and for his offering he had no regard. So Cain became very angry, and his countenance fell. What does it mean when it says his countenance fell? Face fell? Okay. Facial expression. You know, you can either say it made him sad or made him mad or disappointed. Might be, you know. Do what? Very angry. Okay. The Lord said to Cain, why are you angry, and why is your countenance fallen? If you do well, will not your countenance be lifted up? And if you do not do well, sin is crouching at the door, and its desire is for you, but you must master it. Let's stop right there. Now, why is Cain's sacrifice not acceptable? Cain's wasn't, Abel's was. Why is it not acceptable?
Some of it.
Huh?
It was some of it.
Is some of it? Okay.
Abel's was the first and the fattest.
Okay, his is the first and fattest. Okay. Any other ideas? It doesn't say that God told them to bring a sacrifice of a flock, does it? But it's possible that because remember, God is instructing the head of the family, which would be Adam, on what to offer. We do know that they knew they were supposed to bring an offering to God. Some suggested it was Cain's attitude about it. That perhaps, and it's just a lot of stuff, because it really doesn't say, it just says that God didn't accept it. But he accepted Abel's. And it made Cain mad or very angry. And God told him, said, if you do well, you'll feel better. You won't be angry anymore if you do what's right. He said you got to be careful because sin is at the door. You've got to figure out a way to master it. Cain told Abel his brother, and it came about when they were in the field that Cain rose up against Abel his brother and killed him. Then the Lord said to Cain, where is Abel your brother? And he said, I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper? He said, what have you done? And God would have used a little more emphasis on that part than I did. The voice of your brother's blood is crying to me from the ground. Now you are cursed from the ground, which has opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand. When you cultivate the ground, it will no longer yield its strength to you, and you will be a vagrant and a wanderer of the earth. Cain said to the Lord, my punishment is too great to bear. Behold, you have driven me this day from the face of the ground, and from your face I will be hidden, and I will be a vagrant and a wanderer on the earth, and whoever finds me will kill me. So the Lord said to him, therefore whoever kills Cain, vengeance will be taken on him sevenfold. And the Lord appointed a sign for Cain, so that no one finding him would slay him. Then Cain went out from the presence of the Lord and settled in the land of Nod, east of Eden.
It's almost like Cain blamed Abel because his sacrifice wasn't accepted.
Okay?
He's angry with Abel about it.
Yes.
He's taking charge of his own.
Yeah, I mean, am I supposed to be take care of my brother? And jealousy? Okay, yes. And God pronounces a punishment on him. And, yes, he's still got a bad attitude, doesn't he? Yeah. Yeah. And so God pronounces punishment on Cain. Said, you got to leave here, and then whenever you cultivate the ground, it's not. He done placed that punishment on Adam already. Well, it's going to be worse for you. When you plow the ground, it ain't going to give near what it's supposed to give. And Cain said, my punishment's more than I bear. Whoever finds me will try to kill me. Well, that's Brother Leland has texted me all day about this, so and he's supposed to be watching this. Whoever finds me will try to kill me. So God puts a mark on Cain so that anybody who finds him will know who he is.
What's the mark?
That's a good question.
That's a Leland question.
Leland hadn't asked me that question yet, but he's more worried about Cain's wife and me and him have already discussed it, but anyway, on the telephone. What kind of mark did God put on Cain so everybody would know?
Something they recognize.
Something they would recognize? Doesn't say, does it? In years past, those who were very prejudiced made the statement, well, this must be where God caused people to be black. But there is a problem with that theory, and what is it? It's real simple.
Because God made all people from the beginning, some of them different colors.
Okay, well, but there's a better, simpler remedy for that theory, and besides that? Who lived through the flood? Just Noah and his family. So we start all over again. We start all over again. So that, like I say, that was a theory years and years ago that people who are very prejudiced were looking for any kind of reason to run people down. They, well, this was the curse on Cain. Well, it couldn't, you know. That's not feasible.
What I just Googled whatever that, it said that Mark was a promise to offer Cain protection from premature death.
Okay.
So maybe it was just something, maybe not visible, but that,
Okay.
just a sign that he was protecting maybe.
Okay, now Phil's question was, who's going to kill him? Phil's taking Leland's place today. Huh?
It has to be a relative.
Well, now so far we've only got two names.
Adam lived 930 years.
There we go.
But it said he had other sons and daughters, so it was probably a very big family.
There you go. And so,
Commentary says, in commentary, possibly brothers and sisters that wasn't named yet. or
Yes.
Brothers and sisters that are gonna be born later.
you know, family members that, you know, descendants or whatever, well, Cain killed Abel, we're going to get even with him, you know.
It doesn't say the age of Cain.
No. Well, now, let me think here. Let me see. Now, here, we're going to get a date on some of this. Seth's not in the picture yet. Seth is not in the picture yet. He's born later. Okay, now,
Verse 25.
yeah, but that's not the verse I'm looking for. I mean, yeah, you're right.
It says sons and daughters.
Chapter 5, verse 3. When Adam had lived 130 years, he became the father of a man in his own likeness according to his image, and named him Seth. So Adam's 130 years old when he has Seth. Remember, Adam and Eve are created, are they babies? No, they are created grown. So there's lots of room for lots of girls and boys that hadn't been named in between Cain and Abel and Seth. But anyway, verse 17 says, Cain had relations with his wife, and she conceived and gave birth to Enoch, and he built a city and called the name of the city Enoch after the name of his son. And it goes on to talk about all the family of Cain. And of course, that's Leland's question was, where did Cain's wife come from? Did God create some more people? There's an answer to that. We just got there reading it a little bit ago. Eve is the mother of everybody. So for Cain to find a wife, he had to be either his sister or one of Abel's daughters, a niece, you know. Or perhaps there's some more that hadn't named. Some more sons.
There was a lot of time, they were old, they were 900 years old, so they could have a lot of kids, a lot of offspring.
Well, it doesn't give an age of time.
Yeah, it doesn't give an age on what time Cain found
Yeah, I'm just saying,
found his
a lot
wife.
of time.
It just says when Adam got to be 130, they had Seth. Okay. Our time is about up according to the clock up there.
So are we from the line of Cain or Seth? Because,
Seth.
well, in Carter's the same names as this family of Cain. It says, Enoch, Mahalalel, Lamech, and Noah. And
Yeah.
over here on Cain, it says those same names.
Well, some of the same names.
That's what I'm saying. Are you thinking Cain or Seth?
No, we come from Seth.
Well, and we kind of skipped over to, 425, it talks about how, Adam lay with his wife and again gave birth to a son named Seth, saying God had granted, granted me another child in place of Abel.
Yeah.
And so Seth came along maybe before we
Yeah. So we went down to chapter 5 and found out that Adam was 130 years old when Seth was born, but we don't know how old Cain was whenever he when he killed Abel. But David, we can prove that everybody came from the line of Seth because Jesus is from the line of Seth. Noah was from the line of Seth. And Noah's family was the only one lived through the flood.
Well, like for chapter 5, it says the family of Adam, and it lists all the.
Yeah, but it
It
go.
doesn't say it's Seth, though, it just says the family of Adam, it doesn't say.
Yeah, but it'll go through Seth, and then all the way to Christ. If you get hold of the right genealogy, there's some that goes from Christ to back to Abraham, and other goes all the way back to Adam, and it goes through Seth. Okay, our time is up. We're going to start there about verse 23 or 4 next time.